I tell you what, this has become a cult show of sorts. And I'm not going to take solo credit for it. Sachin Bhandary is here in front of me, and really, for me, the business story coach and trainer has added so much value to business and leadership stories. As we're about to commence episode 16, I doff my hat to the man. How are you? All well?
Yes, very good, Rishi. Having fun as usual.
For the uninitiated, if we presume that you're tuning in for the first time, if you if you look at your life, you will always remember stories from the Mahabharata or movies. But if you ask you to remember a business presentation you saw last week, you scratch your head. That's because stories are a hack into the human brain and we need to use more of them. Sachin Bhandari and his partner Ranjini Subramanian of The Story Co. are helping companies, startups, and professionals break the culture of MBA speak and use the power of stories to achieve their business goals with speed and ease. They do this via coaching, consulting, and training. So it's basically giving you one small business story and for us to take a lesson away from it, an all important communication or marketing lesson away from it. Today, founders have to sell more than the product. And these are lessons from Shark Tank India, a show that has really gone viral. Now, the founding team of VS Money, you thought, and a lot of people thought, was a class act in Shark Tank in India. So tell us this story.
Hey, thanks, Rishi. Yes, it's becoming quite a habit now. I look forward to catching up with you every week and having these conversations. Yes, Shark Tank, there have been quite a few questions that have been raised in the recent weeks, but that doesn't take away from the fact that there are some fantastic pitches on the show. So one thing that I still remember is this company called VS Money, founded by GD Prasad and a couple of his mates from Dentsu Web Chutney. So the pitch would be great is something that you expected from admin. However, they did not get the kind of valuation they were looking for. They got
True.
a much smaller valuation and fund than what they had expected or anticipated or asked for. And when that happened, because Namita is the one who invested in the company, Anupam had already invested in the company. And when the deal went through, he came back into the show and he said, "Hey, you guys actually could not come back from the question when Namita asked you, but your revenue is so less. How are you asking for such a great valuation?" And that put you in a spot. And then Piyush jumped in and said, "The problem is you could not sell the future." Because startups actually are supposed to sell the future as opposed to looking at what is happening currently or what has happened in the past. Now, interestingly, GD Prasad, the founder of the company, seems to have taken the advice very seriously because I read an interview, his interview in Forbes India a few weeks after the show, and there he said that we are building the Haldirams of South India. Now, suddenly, you see, you get to know, okay, when you say Haldiram, you're able to see that packet lying on the shelf or quite a few of them. You also feel, wow, Haldiram took about 100 years to build what they are. And there's this startup which is going to try and do this in the next few years. And it's also fairly ambitious, right? So founders, like I say, don't just have to sell the product, they have to sell the future. Not just founders, even business leaders, team managers have to do the same thing.
Super stuff. And the all important marketing and communication lesson that we can draw from the VS Money story and Shark Tank India would be.
The marketing, communication, storytelling lesson, Rishi, would be that you have to narrate a great future story. But how do you narrate one is the question, especially if you're a startup founder or if you are a business leader. So I think there are three elements to a great future story. It's something that I've written about using the VS Money example on LinkedIn. And GD Prasad, the founder, commented saying that, hey, yes, you got it spot on. And those three elements are: one, it needs to be specific. So you cannot actually just do a broad stroke future story of we are going to create the best of some best company in the world. That does not mean anything specific anymore. And the second thing is that it needs to be visual. By visual, I mean when people listen to it, like when you say Haldirams of South India, you're able to visualize what this company is trying to build, what kind of scale it will have. The same thing is something you should narrate in your future story. And the third part is it needs to be ambitious. If it is not something that is going to change our world, change our lives in many ways, team members may not want to be a part of that journey. If they are going to put their skin in the game, then your vision better be ambitious, which can actually change their lives or change the game for them as well. So these three elements, I think, make up a good future story, Rishi.
Sachin Bhandary puts out the Win with Stories newsletter. It's basically a wonderful articulation of his thoughts put on paper, put down for you guys to read. You can find it on LinkedIn. If people want to reach you to enhance their storytelling skills for their startup, their business, or even their personal brand, they want the Story Co to help them, where can they reach out to you?
It's pretty easy. Just look for me on LinkedIn, Sachin Bhandary, Sachin. That's easy. Bhandary is Bhandary. And the link on my profile says get in touch or stay in touch. I've also actually started 3 open live online courses which I do month on month. One is storytelling for marketing and content. The second one is called Founders Pitch. That's specifically for founders and entrepreneurs. And there's something called Ace LinkedIn with Stories. So anyone interested, you can ping me and we can start working together.
Fabulous stuff. And we look forward to catching up with you right here on Business and Leadership Stories, episode 17 next week. Sachin, bye-bye.
Thank you, Hrishi. Look forward.
94.3 Radio 1.